Isla had always moved through life like a whisper, present but rarely questioned, carrying a calm that made people overlook the depth beneath her silence. And yet inside her lived a voice so vivid and expressive that it felt almost too fragile for the noise of the world. A gift she had discovered in childhood while humming along to old songs and later shaping her own melodies in secret, pouring emotions into notes she never dared to share, until one quiet, rain-soaked afternoon changed everything. When Daniel, the man who had raised her with patience and quiet strength, came home early and followed an unfamiliar melody drifting through the house, finding Ela at the piano with closed eyes and steady hands, singing a song that felt less like performance and more like confession, something raw and honest that made him stop in the doorway, afraid to interrupt a moment that felt sacred. Realizing in that instant that what she carried was more than talent, it was the rare ability to translate feeling into sound. And when she noticed him and faltered, mid-note uncertainty flashing across her face, his gentle words of awe and reassurance settled deep into her heart. Not as pressure, but as recognition, forming an unspoken agreement that her gift would be nurtured quietly, protected until she was ready, and from that day forward their bond subtly shifted, filled with shared afternoons, where he listened without judgment, and she played with a mix of excitement and fear, learning that her music could exist safely in this small, private world, even as her dreams stretched beyond it, imagining stages, lights, and listeners she had never met. While Daniel watched her wrestle with that tension, understanding her longing and leaving quiet encouragement in small gestures, like a note on the piano bench, reminding her that her gift was hers and could grow at its own pace. And as days turned into weeks, her music deepened, blending strength with vulnerability, joy with ache, until the thought of sharing it beyond their walls became impossible to ignore, especially when she learned of a local festival searching for young musicians. A possibility that filled her with equal parts hope and dread, and though fear tightened her chest at the idea of being seen and judged, Daniel's calm confidence reminded her that courage was not the absence of fear but the decision to move forward anyway, leading her to practice relentlessly refining melodies, listening to recordings of her own voice, slowly learning to trust it, while he remained a steady presence, offering guidance without control, knowing this step was hers alone. And on the night before the festival, as she played a piece written from every doubt and dream she carried, he listened in silence, letting the music prepare her more than any advice ever could. So that when morning came and the festival hall buzzed with energy, Isla felt her nerves surge but also felt anchored by the sight of Daniel standing quietly in the back, his belief a constant she could lean on. And as she sat at the piano and touched the keys, the first notes tentative but sincere, the melody unfolded into something powerful and alive, carrying her past fear and into a space where music spoke more clearly than words, drawing the audience into her inner world where longing and hope intertwined. And in that moment, she understood that sharing her voice did not diminish what she and Daniel had protected. It fulfilled it, proving that the secrecy had never been about hiding, but about growth. And when the final note faded and applause filled the hall, relief and joy washed over her as she met his gaze. Seeing pride, not possession, support, not control, realizing she had stepped into the wider world without losing herself. And afterward, as congratulations surrounded her and excitement lingered in the air, his quiet reminder that this was only the beginning grounded her, reinforcing that her strength came not from applause, but from trust. And later, walking home through calm streets under soft lights, she felt a deep sense of peace, knowing that while the world might now hear her music, the foundation of encouragement, patience, and belief that had shaped her would always remain. A private source of courage she could carry anywhere. And as she returned to the familiar living room and glanced at the piano where everything had begun, she understood that growth did not erase beginnings, it honored them, and lying awake that night replaying melodies in her mind, Isla felt ready, not because the world had approved her, but because she had learned to believe in herself, supported by someone who had seen her long before anyone else listened. Certain that her journey with music was only just beginning and that every future note would still echo the quiet strength of where she came from.